Hi, I'm Zander Hulmes. I'm the composer and sound designer on Windbound, and it's my job to make all of the music and work with the other sound designers to make all of the sounds for the game. The music in Windbound sort of falls into two camps. There is the sort of procedurally generated stuff, and then there is the more sort of linear, traditional soundtrack stuff. I was trying to hit this feeling of sort of natural beauty, but not comfort and safety. You know, it's a bit tumultuous, it's a bit, there's a lot of unknown. There's mystery and it's, you know, there's survival. Kara's, I decided, would be piano. Partly because I really want people to relate and connect to her, and it's such a, I mean, it's a very Western instrument, but it's a very contemporary instrument, but which also sounds organic.
When we brought in Zander, he already had this idea of a particular approach that we wanted, which ended up working perfectly with the procedural nature of the game.
It's making music that responds to the gameplay and, you know, and evolves and changes and does things because it's in a game. The way we do the sailing in Windbound is more realistic than pressing X to go forwards. You know, you've got to put the sail in the right position and catch the wind, and it actually reminded me of an experience I had with a sea kayak with like a little sail in it, and like trying to catch the wind and failing terribly in the chilly Tasmanian waters. But as a composer, and especially a composer in games, the thing that I love about games is making stuff that's systems driven. I really wanted to get a set of instruments that I felt like I could build around this made up culture of the insulins that Kara is of. And I didn't want to just sort of grab an existing culture and steal their sort of musical modes and their instruments and these sounds. The Gloom Harrows have the Turkish ney, shakuhachi flute, whereas there's Belarusian cymbalum for the Planestalkers. Sounds from all sorts of different cultures, but that I felt like could mesh and blend and then be used in new ways.
As you go throughout the world, the music itself is all procedurally generated with these unique instruments for each creature.
A music system that overall sort of knows where the music is at, and it tells each creature which chunks of music they're allowed to play at any given time. So that when you hear two Razorbacks playing the same music notes, but in different positions, they're playing them with slightly different instruments, and your brain can sort of pick those apart and tell what position they are, where these sounds are coming from. I didn't want to give them this sort of alien or electronic sounds at all. So it's mostly recordings of props and voices and stuff slowed down or pitched up. Like the blink, the sort of little rabbit thing, that's actually just me going like, and you speed it up and you get this sort of thing. Or the Razorbacks, I get a bucket and you sort of oink into that and when they get hurt.
Not only are the creatures having the unique sounds, so that as you started hearing them in the distance, you could tell that, oh, okay, there are some Razorbacks over in this direction, or there is a Planestalker over in that direction. You could have a relatively peaceful experience, but then you get that eerie sound of you know that there's a predator moving in towards you.
Well, the Nautilus was once again a big challenge because it's such a key thing. Yeah, it's a really important part of the game, and just this core of the narrative is all about the Nautilus. In the end, I settled for bassoon. Whenever you're in the crossing, that's between two stages of the game, you hear this I can't sing that low, but that's the melody you hear, right? And in that context, it's sort of a dramatic thing, you know, like you could very well do that with a French horn lead or something, you know, it's got this almost heroic, dramatic feeling to it. But later on, when you are learning more about the Nautilus in the story, you will hear that same melody reflected elsewhere in a way that's recontextualized, and that I think really shows off how sort of sad and lonesome, but still graceful and powerful that this creature is. You know, I really wanted to try and capture all of that in the music, and so that's That's sort of why it's a bassoon. Yeah.